Alright friends, today's the day. It's time to talk about the new
Random Dancing!
Yeah, so come on. Yeah, 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 so come on. Yeah, so come on.
iCarly's back. After nearly 10 years off the air, Miranda Cosgrove, Nathan Kress, Jerry Trainer have come back to reprise their roles as Carly Shay, Spencer Shay, and Freddie Benson in the brand new revamped iCarlyRevival series. But with the characters all grown up and in their late 20s, this iCarly is no longer for the kiddies and is geared towards adults that grew up with the show. So as far as my history goes with iCarly, I loved the show growing up. I watched them pretty much every day for all my growing up. So when the show ended in 2012, I thought that the only way I was ever going to see these characters again was through reruns. So when they announced this new series, I was stoked out of my mind. I was so excited to check it out. When the first trailer came out, which I did a reaction to on the channel, I really enjoyed that trailer, but that trailer did not seem to me like it was very grown up. It did not look like a very mature show, but I went in with my mind open. I was ready to see what they had in store for me. And now that I've watched the first 3 episodes of iCarly, yeah, I don't really think this is an adult show. Okay, firstly good. Miranda Cosgrove, Nathan Kress, and Jerry Trainer, they are great coming back as these characters. They totally feel like the same people that we left back in 2012 with the iCarly series on Nickelodeon, except now grown up and in their 20s. Each actor brings their character back in a way that feels very true to the characters that we grew up watching, but now seeing them as the adults that they grew up to be. Jerry Trainer as Spencer, I once again think steals the show. I think he stole the show back in iCarly when it was on Nickelodeon, and I think he steals the show here. The fact that Spencer has all this wealth and is now a very famous artist allows Jerry Trainer to still bring that wacky comedic energy that made Spencer so lovable in the first place, but also is able to tone it down a bit to make Spencer just a little bit more serious in his life, but not to the point that he becomes untrue to the character he was in the original show. I really like what they're doing with Freddie's character, how he is a father to an adopted child played by Jaden Triplett, and how he has gone through a couple of divorces, which has resulted in him moving back in with his mother so that all these characters, Carly, Spencer, and Freddie, now all reside back in the Bushwell apartments. And of course, Miranda Cosgrove, she brings Carly back as the same bubbly, fun, optimistic spirit that Carly Shay always brought to the show back in its original run. And it is undeniably so cool and so much fun to see these 3 come back together again. You can definitely kind of feel the absence of Sam when the 3 of them are together, but never to the point that I found it distracting, and they do come up with a reason as to why Sam's not in the show that I thought was fine. I thought that the way that they wrote Sam out was just how I thought they could write her out. If Jeanette McCurdy ever wanted to come back and do a guest star spot on the show, the door is fully open and they've left it fully open for her to come on, and it would not be hard to write in at all. The newcomers Lacey Mosley, who plays Harper, Carly's new roommate, and Jaden Triplett, who plays Freddie's stepdaughter, they bring a new kind of energy and a new dynamic to this show that sets it apart from its original Nickelodeon predecessor. So I really like the cast. I really like seeing these characters come back again. It put a big smile on my face to see them interact again, and I thought that they all brought the characters back in a way that felt very true to the original characters. Now let's talk about the adult part of this show. And this is where, unfortunately, my gushing about the iCarly show kind of ends, because this is not an adult show in any way, shape, or form. Does it have more adult humor in it? Yeah, it has a little bit more than I would say the original Nickelodeon show. I wouldn't say it has more adult humor than the original Nickelodeon show. I would just say they're more blatant with the adult humor than they are in the previous show. But everything from the storylines, to the humor, to the jokes, to even the way the actors play the characters, is everything that you would find on a kids show on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. It's just disguised as an adult show because they're able to get away with a little bit more in terms of what you can say and what you can allude to than you could on an actual kids show. But the way that the show is structured, the way that it's written, I don't think it's very good. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy the show when watching it, but a big part of why I liked the show while I was watching it is because I've loved these characters for so long. It was great to see them again, and I'm so attached to the original show. You could not show this to a new person who's never seen iCarly. This is not going to be something that brings them on board to the show. And even some lifelong fans of iCarly that grew up with the show, who might not even be able to watch the reruns anymore, they have fond memories, but they can't go back and watch that original show because they've just outgrown it. I really don't think there's anything new in here that's really gonna grab them. That's not to say that the show isn't funny. I definitely laughed a couple times at this show, but for every joke that works and every joke that hit me, there were like 2 or 3 jokes or scenarios or just comments made by the characters that just left me scratching my head as to what they're even talking about. The show dives really heavy into social media talk, and the language that they use is pretty much all based around social media. So the majority of the conversations are centered around comments, Instagram, likes, all that kind of stuff. In these first 3 episodes alone, all of the storylines revolve something to do with social media that you would find on a tween show. In the first episode, Carly's anxious about starting a new channel because she hasn't done iCarly in a while. In the second episode, she's dealing with a hater that keeps hating on everything she does. And in the third episode, she becomes a meme. Which some could argue makes this show feel very modern, but in my mind, it actually made this show feel like it was already dated. And none of this gives me pleasure to say. Like, I really wanted to love this iCarly revival. And as far as it goes for now, it's really just a guilty pleasure. The kid that I am really did love seeing these characters come back and diving back into this world. But the adult that I have inside of me really recognized that this show was not an adult show. Even if I was going to compare these episodes to episodes in the iCarly show that was on Nickelodeon back in the day, I think these episodes are actually some of the weaker iCarly episodes they've ever had. Oh, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. After we were finished watching these first 3 episodes, I looked at my wife and we had a conversation about it, and it clicked with me that this show is a kids show that's focused on adults. Everything in this show you would find in a kids show, except for the fact that the main characters are all adults who are able to be adults within this kids show environment. But even with all that unfortunate negativity said, I do see some lights in this show that I'm curious to see where they go with them. I really like seeing that Freddy has a daughter, and watching his character deal with being a father for the first time, I find really interesting. And I'd like to see the show tackle his role as a father with a little bit more seriousness and mature themes as the show goes on. There were a couple of jokes that landed for me. I really liked seeing these actors come back and play these characters. It was a lot of fun. Based off these 3 episodes, I would never call this show good. I just couldn't do it. But as far as it is for me right now, it's a guilty pleasure, and I am going to finish out the season to see how they go on and how they find their stride, because I think right now they're in a little bit of a bumpy road. It's not quite clicking. I don't think all the gears are working how they're exactly supposed to for this show. I really do see the potential, and I think it's really cool to bring a kids show into an adult show. As far as I go, I've never seen that before, so it was really cool and fascinating to watch these characters that I've only seen as kids grow up and just get another glimpse at them in this chapter of their life. But yeah, unfortunately, and I really hate to say it, this show just didn't really click with me. Whew, that was rough. What did you guys think of the new iCarly revival? Have you had a chance to check out the first 3 episodes? Comment down below, let me know. I want to know all your thoughts and opinions about these episodes. I'm sorry I had to rain on the parade a little bit. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like talking movies, TV, and all things entertainment, then why don't you go on and click that subscribe button, click that like button, click that notification bell, all that YouTube stuff. And I hope to see you guys again real soon. As always, guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. Once again, my name's Zachary Milne. Thank you for talking movies with me, and hope you have yourself a great day.